Money FM 89.3, the best of Saturday mornings. International News Review.
All right, Steve Oken's joining us, as always, the CEO of APAC Advisors. Steve, first we got to start with Iran. It is the topic that everyone's talking about at the moment. How close do you think the U.S. is to getting involved, dropping bunker-busting bombs, et cetera, in favor of this? What should we be looking at?
Well, Donald Trump said we're 2 weeks away, which is basically what he says whenever he has a tough decision to make. This is a really tough decision for President Trump.
Why is it so tough?
Well, there's two reasons. First, there's the substantive reason, and then we can get into the political reason. But you have three questions if you're the United States, if you're going to go into and this is a war of choice, right? The United States has not been attacked. The United States is not under imminent threat.
Right.
Israel is under imminent threat. The United States is not. And so this is a war of choice. So you have to ask yourself, hopefully the president is asking himself these three questions. One, is this strike truly necessary? Second, if we do this, will this drag the U.S. into a prolonged war in the Middle East? Will it open up the U.S. to attack from terrorists in the United States itself or to its military bases across the Middle East and the world?
Right.
So third,
there's a lot of softer targets out there.
Well, of course, and then including us, right? And third, will this achieve the goal of destroying Iran's nuclear program? I mean, why the United States would go in is because it has these bunker-busting bombs, which could go deep enough into the ground where the Iranians have protected their nuclear facilities, and the Israelis can't do it. Nobody could do it really other than the United States. And so, but if you do use these bombs and it doesn't destroy Iran's nuclear program, then why are you doing it to begin with? No one knows the answer to these three questions. So there's that issue, and then there is the political issue the president has to deal with, because this is really driving a huge wedge in his base.
Yeah. Well, it's look, every president faces these challenges, and it's hard to think back to a president, other maybe Jimmy Carter, who hasn't wanted to flex their military muscle at some point. And most of them, if we look back at Iraq and Afghanistan, do it at first from afar with, remember, the shock and awe bombing campaign in Iraq too, also in Kuwait. And, American presidents love showing off the weaponry with the video cameras on the bombs and all that sort of stuff. And it feels like it's not getting America involved in these things. But as we know, history, time and time again, all you got to do is read the history books. It does get the U.S. involved in some way. But
you're obviously, Glenn, your history is dead on with what presidents have done in the past. But Donald Trump didn't run on that. Donald Trump runs as America first, and part of America
foreign intervention, I should say.
Well, that's the question, right? What is America? Is America first about no foreign intervention, not to get involved in these long wars? We're not the world's policemen. Now, there are people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is, MTG, the congresswoman from Georgia, who is truly positions herself as truly that America First MAGA. And her quote is, anyone slobbering for the U.S. to become fully involved in the Israel-Iran war is not America First MAGA. President Trump, on the other hand, says, more or less direct quote, since I'm the one that developed America First, and considering the term wasn't used until I came along, I think I'm the one who decides that. So now Trump says America First is whatever he says it is, but that is not what a lot of those non-interventionist, some of whom are isolationist on that America First. They're saying, no, Donald Trump, you don't get to decide what's America First. You've already decided that. You can't change your mind. Well, so that's the political question that he has to deal with.
The bigger point is, this is what he campaigned on, getting the U.S. out of foreign involvement, focusing back on the economy. Remember, it was economy, border security. Those were the two big things that he campaigned on. He's doing a lot on border security, whether you agree with it or not. Economy, he claims the tariffs will get it there. Not yet. But now, again, we see America looking overseas to something. And I'm not saying that Iran, a nuclear-powered Iran, is a good thing, but is it America's place to be involved?
Well, and how close are they to getting a nuclear weapon? Is this necessary to prevent them from doing it? Can diplomacy work? There's all of these other questions that have been going on for decades, and part of what the debate in the United States is this in the United States' interest, or is this something that Israel has set the agenda? Why are we letting Israel set the agenda for the United States? Why should we let any country? I'm not talking about Israel and picking on Israel. Why should any country set the agenda for the United States? Because it is the United States that should decide what is America first, right? Not anybody else. And that's why you see the Tucker Carlson and Senator Ted Cruz really go at it over
Tucker Carlson
this.
Taking the America has no business there, and Ted Cruz saying America has business being there kind of discussion.
And this is where and Donald Trump has been masterful as a politician in holding. I don't want to even holding a coalition together, because there are the people who vote for Trump. There are some people who are very I would say conservative, traditional Republicans. We have to stand up for what is right in the world, such as against Russia, such as against China, such as against the former what George W. Bush called the axis of evil. And then you have the MAGAs, the Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Tucker Carlsons, who are like, we shouldn't be anywhere but are within our borders. So it is a really. So what is Trump going to do in the next 2 weeks? We don't know. I mean, can this go on for 2 more weeks? Will Israel continue to bomb, and will Iran continue to bomb as well? And you've got now people dying in both countries, dozens in Israel, hundreds. But is this going to scale, and is it going to get out of control? And is Trump the right person with this 2-week attitude to see what things develop?
All right. Let's move on to back here in the region. China is criticizing the passage of a British warship through the Strait of Taiwan, the Taiwan Strait, as what they're calling an international provocation that undermines peace and stability. This comes as the British vessel is here with a carrier strike group that has arrived in the region. They will be coming through Singapore this next week. And it was the British Royal Navy ship, the HMS Spey, that was the one that went through the strait. Freedom of navigation through the strait is something the U.S. Warships often do. And this is certainly not a new transit for non-Chinese military ships, but raising some challenges with China.
Yeah, and this is, as you say, what the military world calls FONOPS, right? Where freedom of navigation operations, which show this is international water. We can go wherever we want to go, and the Chinese call it a provocation, even though clearly this naval vessel had every right to be there, and other carriers do it. I think what's interesting here is that you now have the British Navy in this part of the world. They haven't been here for 4 years to do this type of operation. And so you do, obviously, this does send a message, and I think it sends a message. Obviously, the message is being sent to China that this is something that we recognize is part of our geopolitical interest, that we, as the British, want to make sure that we can maintain the right to go through the straits, and that this is international water. This is not Chinese water. And so it sends a message.
Bigger political discussion on that, and we may not have the answer, but is this, a first step or a step toward Europe trying to assert more influence, military influence in this era, in the era of maybe the U.S. pulling back a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, and perfect question, Glenn, and that's something that doesn't happen by accident. Is it? But they were here 4 years ago. So is this something that
4 years feels like how long?
Right. So that's what you want to be watching is what is happening in terms of this is part of this is U.S.-China, but part of this is, will the U.S. be pulling back from its traditional role? And like, if you're America and you have that America first mentality, you want to see other countries stepping up. You say this is not just the United States' responsibility to ensure that there be a situation in the Straits so that eventually China and the people in Taiwan can work out whatever they work out on their own, and that we want to ensure that there is stability and a framework in place that they can discuss. This isn't our decision. And so I would say, if you're the United States, you say this is good. We want to have other countries here, not just us. And if you're the British and the Germans and the French, who have the ability to do this as well, that this is part of their geopolitical interest. This is not. We don't want to see the world move back into this spheres of influence situation that we had post World War II.
Could be headed that way, though. Let's keep an eye on that. Thailand's Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra is in a bit of hot water. She was having a phone conversation with the former Cambodian leader Hun Sen, and in it, she apparently criticized the Thai military. Now, the Thai military has been very instrumental in propping up her government and several of the past governments in Thailand. Somebody on the Cambodian side leaked this discussion, or at least the memo that did the transcription of it, and that person leaked it out around the world. A very uncomfortable position in what is normally a diplomatic courtesy not to talk about these things outside of a very close circle.
Well, let's get to the word leaked, because I think this is, I wouldn't use the word leaked here, because let's talk about what happened. Right. So there's a conversation between the head of state of Thailand and the former head of state, who happens to be the father of the current head of state of Cambodia. A 17-minute phone call that the Cambodian, leader, or Hun Sen, the former leader,
yep.
former leader, he records it. And then, to quote unquote from him, to avoid any misunderstandings, he shared the audio clip with 80 people. That's not a leak.
That's a waterfall. A big waterfall.
Oh my God, I can't believe one of these 80 people put this out there. Then he put the full recording on his Facebook page. So this is not leaked. This is intentional and deliberate, and it really harms the Thai leader. Now, I'm not. I don't know Thai politics, and I'm not going to predict what is going to happen to her. But clearly, this is what happens when you have somebody who is a novice. I mean, she's 37. She'd never been in politics before. Obviously, she has a relationship with her father, the current prime minister of Thailand. But when you get on a phone call and you call the person on the other end uncle, in English,
yep.
This is your equal. You're not supposed to call that person uncle. And when she tells him, when you are having serious border disputes between the Cambodian and the Thai countries, and the militaries are involved, and she says to Hun Sen, ignore the quote-unquote opposite side. Mm-hmm. And they were just trying, and the opposite side being the Thai military, and they were just trying to look cool. What was she thinking in having the conversation? You have to look. These never get publicized. But he's not the leader of the country, and she should have never done this. She should have never set herself up. She should have never said it. And look, you were just in Phuket. Are you hearing that she's going to be able to survive as prime minister?
Yeah, it's a real political novice move, and I talked to a few people, so it's not representative of the country or whatever, but they all said, this is a big deal. This is a big deal because the Thai military is so instrumental in keeping these civilian governments in power, and has been in the past, and certainly is today. So to say anything that would be looked at unfavorably by the military is, at the very least, not a smart move, and at the very most could be devastating to her career. We'll see which way it goes. Of course, she went in on bended knee and apologized and everything to the Thai military. So we'll see how that all plays out for her.
But the Thai military, took over governments twice from her family.
Yeah.
In 2006 and in 2014, and and she apologized. But the problem is, there's the narrative of, is the family, her family, the Shinawatras, are they in it for the public, or are they in it for themselves?
I think we know the answer to that.
But that's you get it. You play into that narrative, and it gets and you can apologize, but are people going to buy the apology? And so it's going to be, and Thailand is in a very difficult position right now with the United States, because the United States has put reciprocal tariffs on Thailand. If those tariffs hit, it is going to hit the Thai economy. They're negotiating with the United States right now. No one knows what the Trump administration is going to do as it negotiates, 90 deals in 90 days with a self-imposed deadline of July 9th. So you've got problems on the border with Thailand. You've got problems with your economy. You potentially have problems with the United States. She is in a very precarious position, and this is not going to help.
Not a good scene for her. We'll see how that shakes out in coming days, or there may just be so much behind the scenes stuff we don't even see what really happens to resolve this. Okay, finally, let's end off with Labubu, global sensation, furry dolls. I know, Steve, you're an expert on Labubu. Those of you who are not, get on there quick and Google it. These cute, little, adorable, super expensive dolls that the young kids, the Gen Zs, are buying these days, and Gen Alphas. It is an interesting intersection between commerce and soft power. We've seen it before all around the world, but in this case, it's China soft power, because that's where these dolls have come from. Steve, tell me everything you know about Labubu. There you go.
I just did. You got everything I know about Labubu. I'm much more fascinated about the soft, quote-unquote, soft power aspect of this. Xinhua, the state news agency in China, says that Labubu, quote-unquote, shows the appeal of Chinese creativity, quality, and culture in a language the world can understand, while giving everyone the chance to see, quote-unquote, cool China.
Might be overstating it just a little bit, but okay.
And then others have said that this is going to advance China's soft power, because you have an extraordinarily popular Chinese product, and I'll count Hong Kong as part of China because I think it originated in Hong Kong. But you've got an extraordinarily popular Chinese product that is being photographed with Rihanna, that's being, photographed, her collection. Kim Kardashian is showing off her collection. Sir David Beckham, I forgot it was Sir. Apologies, Neil. Sir David Beckham is putting on his Instagram a photo of a Labubu given to him by his daughter. Labubu. So there's no question this is globally popular. I don't think this means it advances China's soft power. I don't think that people are going to look at the Chinese government differently and the actions of the Chinese government differently when it comes to Xinjiang, when it comes to Tibet, when it comes to Taiwan, when it comes to Hong Kong. I don't think they're going to say, oh, they're not such a bad government because they've got Labubu. Now, I don't know how much longer soft power is going to last with the United States. The United States used to have an extraordinary amount of soft power, and part of that was Hollywood and the movies and television and music and culture and Levi's and Apple and everything that came out with that. And I think because I do think that helped the United States government in this term that soft power that came up with, I think, by Joseph Nye, a few decades ago. I think there was soft power there. I don't know that soft power can apply to the Chinese government through here. But it'll be very interesting to watch. And I'm having this debate right now with a number of friends of mine to ask, is this going to help Chinese soft power? And a friend of mine former, very senior official in the White House, in Republican White House. He thinks it might help them because he says there are Americans who are going to China to buy these things, and when we get to China and they see the Chinese people, that they will get closer to them. So maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it will help soft power. I of course have to figure out what Labubu is first.
You know, we have stores. There's stores here at Wisma Atria, at Plaza Singapura. There are places here you can buy them anywhere from sort of $25 to $100+. Just the case, the clear plastic case that they come in is over $25, $30 just to buy that. I was in one of the stores a month or two ago looking at these things because I was so darn curious about them. And in case you're wondering, as you're walking around town, this is typically what the younger generation will clip onto their backpacks. So it's sort of a status symbol that everybody can see that they have a Labubu doll. And Steve, I'm going to be not getting you one soon, but if you do get one and decide to put it on your backpack, I will applaud you.
I tell you, if you want to get me a Chinese product, you skip the Labubu, just get me a BYD.
You and me both.
Those cars are amazing.
They're amazing.
And here's I've been, I don't own one, obviously I don't own any car, but I've been in BYDs many times. They're great cars. I don't think that helps China's soft power either. Right?
Oh, I do.
Soft power?
I think so. Because it adds into the culture of, I mean, we can argue that one later.
I think it's a really interesting question about how does soft power translate to a government like China. But I do think, certainly K-pop has worked for Korea, no question, helped their soft power. So maybe it does help their soft power. We'll do that one on a WhatsApp chat next time.
There we go. Steve, thanks so much for being with me today for this hour. You're back next week, of course, for the International News Review, as is Neil. Thanks for being with us.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.